Darlington, South Carolina for the Stroh's Nationals. And we get set now for the quarterfinals in the funny car division. Our first two competitors will be Mark Oswald and Dale Pulde, the 1984 against the 1985 IHRA champion. Leonard Hughes, the crew chief on the Oswald car. We ask him about Oswald.
We've won a lot of races, but really he doesn't have a lot of experience. He's only been doing this for like 2 or 3 years. And that's not a lot of experience because like at the crash last week at Bristol, he had never had that before. Things like that. He didn't know exactly what was going on, what would happen, what to do. As far as driving the car, I don't know of any better.
Leonard Hughes talking about his driver, Mark Oswald. His competitor here in this first round will be Dale Pulde, who has already wrapped up the championship for this year. We asked Bill Schultz, his crew chief, about any weaknesses that Pulde has.
Well, he really doesn't have any weaknesses. He's probably one of the highest rated drivers. I rate drivers on a 3-level basis. First, can he leave on time such that you can win races? Can he report back and tell you what's happening in the car? And thirdly, can he save the car if it gets a little out of shape? And he's near the top in each of those categories, so he's one of the top 3 drivers in the sport, no doubt about it.
So, Larry, we begin the quarterfinals here in Funny Cars with a classic matchup.
Really do, Bob. The last 3 world championships represented here. Pulde, of course, in that bright Miller High Life yellow car, had just a spectacular season this year in IHRA. Kind of a quiet, humble, but very confident young man.
So it's Dale Pulde in the far lane in the Miller Warrior against Mark Oswald from near Cincinnati, Ohio, in the near lane in the Candies and Hughes Old Milwaukee Pontiac.
Pulde, the 5th fastest qualifier for this event. Oswald, the 4th. Pulde, if you look at the record books, the man to beat in IHRA. And Oswald's in trouble.
Big puff of smoke from Mark Oswald, and it's going to be an easy win for Dale Pulde. He moves into the semis. The time, 5.743. That's a speed of 247.93 miles an hour, and tough luck for Mark Oswald just as the light went on. Next matchup, John Lombardo against Paul Smith. We asked Lombardo about his Old Milwaukee sponsorship.
Well, the Old Milwaukee sponsorship appears to be over for the funny car this year, but Raymond's got two or three other sponsorship programs going on, so it looks like the team will be back in full force next year again, and I'm looking forward to driving again next year for them.
That's John Lombardo. It's a very warm day here in Darlington, and perhaps by that shot you can see the heat that's being generated by these cars and by the atmosphere.
And of course, all true drag racers understand the heat can really have an effect on the performance of these machines. You really have to be prepared for it.
It's John Lombardo in the near lane against Paul Smith from Boynton Beach, Florida, in the far lane.
This is only his 8th career final round appearance, but he does have 1 win. He's a guy who's been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, in the late 70s and early 80s, he was making a habit of finishing up in the top 4 in points. But to see him here in the final 8 is somewhat of a surprise. He comes in, I would guess, as an underdog against somebody like Lombardo.
So it'll be a Dodge Daytona driven by Paul Smith against the Ford Mustang Old Milwaukee car driven by John Lombardo from Sherman Oaks, California. We're still in our quarter-final round here in Darlington.
Well, Smith has been cranking off some solid 250-mile-per-hour runs so far in the meet. Not really enough to come over the top. Let's see how he does here.
And again, a lot of smoke from the near lane. Lombardo has a problem with his car, and Paul Smith comes out on top with a run of 250 miles an hour.
So the Floridian driving the, don't you think it's appropriate, Daytona, who qualified 7th fastest here. He struggled for so many years, finds himself in a nice position of moving up 1 more rung in the ladder. There you see some apparent tire smoke coming from underneath Lombardo's car. That might have made the difference, Bob.
So Paul Smith, who wins here, this is the far lane. That's the 2nd consecutive race we've seen the winner from the far lane. We'll keep an eye on that to see if it continues throughout the afternoon. Paul Smith, the winner in quarterfinals. Well, this is our final event of 1985, and so we salute some of the major IHRA teams of the year. We'll be right back with more from Darlington.